Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to the All Balls Sports Show, a discussion of any and all sports, local, regional, and national. And now, here are your hosts, Dan James, Eddie Bobo, Ty Cobb, and the coach, Vance Ballou.
Thank you, Bill Jones. Welcome into the All the Balls Sports Show for this Wednesday evening. Glad to have everybody along. Guess who's with us at the very front of the show? It's Maurice Patton of the Daily Herald, boys and girls.
He got his homework done early.
Yes, he did.
I had a free homework passed.
Oh, okay. Dog ate your homework.
No, it's really nice to be here at the start of the show instead of walking across your shot.
That's all right.
In mid-show.
That's okay. That's what's so nice about us having a very relaxed,
Atmosphere.
very nonchalant sports show.
I like that.
You know,
Nonchalant.
we can actually breathe.
Yeah.
And do the things that we need to do. Top of the show, got a little house cleaning to do. Boston Butt Sale continues at Columbia Central High for the football team. $35. Friday is the deadline. TJ just ordered his today. Pickup day is on March 9th from 9 to 11 a.m. at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. So get your butt in order quickly.
You almost made it.
Almost.
Yeah.
Home opener for Columbia Central Rugby is next Wednesday at 6. We will not have a show because Eddie and I will be out at Lindsey Nelson Stadium doing, the rugby thing for
Let's
Coach
do that rugby.
Dan LaFon. So we'll be doing our rugby thing, and they'll be against Warren County. The rained out last Friday night. That game has been rescheduled to April 6th, and that's against Blackman.
And that's senior night now, is that right?
That will be senior night, correct. Yep, yes, sir. Murray County celebration for Shaq Mason has been moved to March 16th on the square due to a contract conflict. Starts at 4 o'clock. Super Bowl block party. Downtown Columbia. Be there. Aloha. Columbia Central Soccer's first game is next March 15th. Friday against Shelbyville. Junior varsity plays at 5. Varsity plays at 7. First of 4 home games in a row for Columbia Central Soccer.
So they're opening up with a district game.
Yeah, they are.
There you go.
And my understanding is from Coach Sid last week that Shelbyville is tough in the district.
Well, so is Central.
Yeah.
What are they, defending district tournament champions?
They are.
So there you go.
They are.
Yeah.
Columbia Central High School football schedule has been released. Let's go through that for the 2019 season.
Let's do that.
All right, August 16th will be the Jamboree at Lindsey Nelson Stadium. On August 23rd will be the Backyard Bowl, kicking off the 2019 season for Central High. That'll be Spring Hill at Lindsey Nelson Stadium starting at 7. August 30th, Dixon County. That'll be away. Of course, we've been playing Dixon County since when, like 1972? Coach, something like that?
I think that's right. Maybe even 70, but you're it's 70 or 72.
And for some reason, we just can't shake them off the schedule,
yeah,
can we?
there was a 2-year period we didn't play them, or maybe a 4-year period, whatever that schedule cycle was.
But you know what? I rode over to Waverly back during the playoffs and went up through Dixon. I didn't realize really how close it is from here to Dixon.
Oh, yeah.
And that being said, that's a good ball game for both of y'all.
It is.
Yeah, it is. It's a good gate game. Plus, the competition's been really good through the years, and it's a beautiful drive. When you go from Columbia to there or vice versa, it's a very enjoyable drive.
And you may or may not get stopped by a sheriff's officer.
You may or may not see a deer as well.
And
be
given a written warning.
Or if you're carrying equipment for the football team, you may get stopped by the sheriff's department and
the state trooper.
State trooper first.
Some outlaws require both.
Well, it's like Lay's potato chip. You can't have just one.
That's true. That's true. But the state highway patrolman did not give me a ticket. He gave me a warning, straighten up, boy. And then I did get a warning citation from the sheriff's department.
What were you doing?
one of my lights on my license plate was out.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
And that was his warning citation.
Yeah, that was my warning citation.
You didn't give him no attitude, did you?
No, not a bit.
No, he was very, very polite. He was.
What'd you say? Moving on.
In both cases.
The funny thing was the football. It was either the football bus or the cheerleader bus came by, and they called one of the dads that was in the truck with us, and they said, "Is that Mr. James got pulled over there?" They said, "Yeah, he's having a discussion with the sheriff's deputy."
So what's that third game, Dan?
But anyway, third game is yeah, that third game is over there, by the way, Dixon County. September 6th will be Summit. That'll be away at their house starting at 7 o'clock. September 13th, we have John Overton back on the schedule. When was the last time we played John Overton,
It
Coach?
would have been 2000. Let's see, 2004.
Okay.
Been the last time.
I was gonna say
Because he used to be in our region.
when I was in school, I can remember us playing them every year. So
Yeah, we're playing them again September 13th. September 20th will be Lincoln County away. September
Back-to-back
27th.
trips to the pit.
Yeah, yeah.
They had to redraw the district because of changes.
Mm-hmm.
September 27th, a new name on our schedule, Nolensville, and that'll be at their house.
Artificial turf.
Is it? Cool. October 4th, Franklin County, that'll be homecoming. October 11th is fall break. That'll be the bye week. October 18th is Page, which will be here at Lindsey Nelson. October 25th, Stratford. We played them.
2002
Okay, so we got Stratford back on the
in
schedule.
the playoffs.
That'll be at their house at 7 o'clock. And on November 1st, we're rolling over into November for the first time that I can remember. Shelbyville will be senior night. That'll be here at Lindsey Nelson. So there you go. There's Columbia Central's schedule for 2019. Looking forward to another.
I think one of the things that Jason is most proud of on that schedule is that bye week landing during fall break.
Yeah.
I think he really made a super effort to try to get that to happen.
Well, Coach, haven't we always tried to do that?
Been trying to do that, and this will be the first time. And I think fall break started for us around 2002, 3, somewhere around there. So it's taken this long. Some people, like the Williamson County schools, they can all stick together and make that a district game since they're all in the same district practically. And the whole county got off that way the same way since there were so many of them. But a little bit harder when you stand by yourself, since there's no other Murray County schools.
But picking up
schedule.
Nolensville seems to be kind of interesting. I mean, that's just like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I believe that's a region game, isn't it? District
Are
game.
they coming up this year? Is that right?
I can't
No,
remember.
Nolensville is just it's just a filling
Right,
game.
okay. I guess I was wrong on that then.
I thought the two Metro games, Stratford and Overton, were interesting ads.
Yeah, yeah. Considering it's been so long since we played either one of them,
Right.
and one of them was in a, like you said, in a playoff scenario.
Well, one thing that happened, kind of caught Jason had to deal with, is after we thought our district was pretty much set, White County decided not to compete for the playoffs, or it wasn't announced.
And then the
until
Rockvale changed.
then Rockvale
Yeah.
was supposed to be in our district, but decided to move all the way up to 6.
I don't know if they decided or if it was decided.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Their school district might have decided that, not the Tito List AA.
So Rockvale comes online next year, and they're going to be a 6A school. So their first year, they're going to play varsity, and they're going to be in there with the Oaklands and Riverdales and
Is that?
Lunch.
I know this is probably an obvious question. Is that a smart move for them to do that? I mean, when you're coming out of the gate in your very first year, your very first season, and you're doing 6A.
Well, isn't it done by enrollment?
projected
Well,
enrollment in their
yeah.
case.
And projected in their case, and
Yeah.
you get a little bit of leeway there your first year. So
Yeah.
I never heard that they were not going to be allowed to play 5A. So I think, like Maurice is pointing to, the district or somebody over there decided to go ahead and move up, which there's some benefit. They'll be playing all the schools in their county, but they're going to be hampered by being a brand new school.
Brand new school.
Probably not going to be quite 6A enrollment. So that is tough.
Right.
You know, and a lot of people like Ravenwood, and there's been several other, their first 2 years they played JV schedule and then went into a varsity schedule.
That's what Nolensville did.
Yes.
Yeah,
Nolensville
Nolensville did
was
that.
one of those, yeah.
So Rick Rice, the new coach over Rockvale, is going to have his work cut out for him.
He is.
Former Wayne County coach.
So how many years would you give a new coach like that on a startup program?
I think the first 2 years have got to be about, you know, how you're running your program and, you know, how your kids are responding. It can't be about wins or losses in that situation. So, in my opinion, wins or losses, you know, your first 2 years, you get a free pass. It's just too much to try to overcome and hold somebody to. That's just,
Especially in that region. Again.
I mean, you got, their kids will not be in school until next fall. You know, they will be their first day of school will be in that building will be that first day of school. So,
Wow, how do you build a football program?
It takes time.
Since you're not going to have really anybody you can recruit to come on board, and you won't be in your building until August. It just seems like that's a tough
an uphill battle.
They will definitely have to get a lot of help from the county and organization, you know, on a early role of who's going to be in the school and all that. And but it's tough. I mean, you're going to be looking at when's the season start? August the 16th.
Yeah, for jamborees.
Well, I mean, realistically, you're looking at mid-November before you get to know your kids. You know, maybe some help through the summer, but still, you know, how are you going to know what your kids are going to respond to in that situation, on the field, off the field things, all those stuff. So it's a major undertaking, no doubt.
You'd think that maybe we should start the school first and get through a season of no football and like
Nolensville did do the JV.
You know,
route.
no fall athletics until you figure out who you've got population-wise that would fit into a sports program.
Yeah, I think that the best course is one of those two things. Either go JV your first year or two. In this case, it would have to be 2 years because of scheduling, or play at a lower division till you get things going. Now, they're not going to let you play in a lower division than your enrollment is, but you know.
But you could play JV.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Maurice, why would Rick Rice leave Waynesboro and go
Bigger school
to Rutherford County?
You know, I don't know what he was making. I don't know what he is making. You know, maybe he felt like he had maxed out in terms of what he could accomplish at Wayne County.
Well,
you know,
all of his sons have graduated. So
and sometimes and you got a coach right over here. You know, sometimes you just want to kind of challenge yourself a little bit. I mean, he'd been coaching at the 1A level. Maybe he just wanted to see if he could replicate that success.
Yeah, but if you're at a 1A level, I mean, don't you like try 2A maybe first and 3A instead of going, hey, I'm going 6A, baby?
Well, one, he might not have known he was going 6A at the time, but two, you can't always dictate when the opportunities are going to come available either. So,
That's true.
well, then the other problem is he's had built-in quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think this past year was the first year he wasn't taking the quarterback home with him every day after practice. But you know, again, he's had a great run down there. I'm expecting him to do really well once they get their athletes in place. I don't envy him this next little bit. Like I said, going in 6A your first year, it's going to be a struggle. I'm sure everybody over there realizes that, but I'm excited to see long term what he's able to get done over there. Again, just for the fact that he did have so much success down at Wayne County. I'm excited for him.
Good deal.
Yeah, I would really like to see him do well, just simply because he's coming from that smaller division. I think a lot of times we put too much emphasis on what level somebody's at. When you know, if you're a good coach at 1A, you're a good coach. That's just the way it is. I think Rick Rice really likes a challenge too. I think that probably plays a part in it as well. You know,
And I think when you look, I mean, Kevin Creasy over at Oakland just won a state championship over there. He came to Oakland from Trousdale County, so I mean, you see it, and you are so much more hands-on. I think at the smaller levels. I read something last fall that maybe some of your best coaching is going on down there. Just because you don't necessarily have the help staff-wise, you don't necessarily have the resources, and you're actually having to coach as opposed to being a Nick Saban kind of guy and just delegating all over the place. But again, I'm interested to see how he does over there.
Yeah, and a lot of times at smaller schools, you only have your better kids, more athletic kids. I mean, during your season because they play single A. They play. You know, your better athletes in single A are almost assured they're going to be playing 3 sports. It's just the way it is, and teaching schedules vary more. You know, they're having to usually teach more subjects. So I would agree with what you're saying. A lot of times it is more hands-on. It is more, I would say in that situation, your ability to call plays is more significant because you haven't had your kids all winter and spring and all those things. So I think that makes a huge difference. Rick Rice is a really good guy. I really hope he does well, and I'd like to see another guy. A great example bringing up Kevin Creasy is making that transition from small school to big school.
But then again, you do have those individual coaches who like that challenge. You know, I'm taking on a new school. I'm taking on a new position as far as bringing kids into the program and making football players out of what I have.
Yeah, and there's something intriguing for coaches about being the first. It's hard to really explain, but to be able to go in and establish this is the way it is, this is what we're about, this is how we do things. And, you know, really there's no comparison to anything else really unless a kid happened to play in another program somewhere else. But this is what we're about. It's so much easier to establish when you're brand new.
Okay, but does he have a stigma that goes along with, well, you were a 1A coach down in Wayne County. What do you know? Or does he have kids that will listen to the fact that he is a good coach? And if you'll listen to what I tell you and how I coach you, we will be successful.
I don't know how much attention kids pay to that type thing. And if they pay too much attention, they might be paying attention from a distance.
That's true.
And he can pull out a ring or two.
Yeah, that's true.
A couple of Mr. Footballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Rick Rice is such a good coach that he's going to be able to convince people, you know, before they actually play a game. People are going to know that he knows what he's talking about from the 3 weeks of practice or whatever.
Let's shift gears for a second. Last night you were at Columbia Central High School at the gymnasium out there, and they were upended by Blackman.
Yeah, tough loss, 70-57 final. Dontavius Brown did what he does, 21 points, and pretty well willed them to stay in
and
that
was
thing
hurt
for 4 quarters. Yeah, he was having some cramping issues, I think, or something going on. But he's just a warrior, man.
Yeah.
And I told him after the game, I've really enjoyed watching you the last 2 years in both sports. And he's just a kid you'd go to war with, I think. I mean, am I wrong?
I agree. He's a great competitor, fine young man, just a joy to be around. It's really fun to watch kids like that play that have that, you know, can relate well with both kids and adults, but can go out and just really fight and grind and compete, and he did that all night long last night.
And what was fun to me watching Dontavius or watching Do from last year to this year was last year with all those seniors they had, he really could kind of took a secondary role, if that. To watch him expand his game and assert himself within the framework of the team, and it wasn't I, me, my. It was, here's what we're going to do, follow me. And I mean, it wasn't by words, but it was every night, jump on my back.
And it looked like he was having fun this year.
Yeah. And the one thing I really enjoyed about watching him was you never saw him get flustered.
No.
I mean, you couldn't tell if he had scored 30 or scored 2. And as long as they won, he didn't care. So he'll be missed.
Watching him at the beginning of the student-teacher game on that Friday they had out there, he comes out with his wig, and he comes out with his headband, and he says, "I'm looking for a mustache." I said, "For what?" He said, "Trying to go incognito." I said, "No, you're not." I said, "Everybody sees that smile, they gonna know who it is." Because he smiled. This is one kid that smiles all the time. Yes. He's got an infectious smile. Yeah. And just a joy to be around.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Blackman was just better than they were last night. I mean, they had more size inside. Dontavius kind of helped negate that. He really slowed their big guy down, but they were just better. And I think Central pretty well maximized their talent. A really young team. It's easy to get lost in everything that they did this year. I mean, winning the district championship as the number 3 seed going into the tournament, finishing up 18 and 11, I think, with just 3 seniors. So I think Nick Campbell did a really great job this year, and I'm interested to see what happens for them going forward. And hopefully they'll have some 6'7" or 6'8" kid move in, because if they don't, they're going to be small again.
Right. Hats off to Nick Campbell.
Yeah.
He did a great job this year.
Not bad for a Lawrence County guy.
Yeah. By the way, his nickname is Soup. I'm just saying. It's pretty obvious.
Of course.
Coming up on April 27th, and the reason he's here, TJ Brown, we've got the Dylan Rebeor Memorial Golf Tournament at Stony Brook. And TJ, I'm just always glad to have you on the show, man. You're just such a delight. And pleasure to have you, man.
Such a delight. I don't know exactly how to take that, Dan.
It was meant in a good way.
No.
Love you, bro.
We always appreciate you.
It means you're a really cool guy.
Yeah.
That's
well,
it.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah, there you go. Sounds good. Thank you, Vance. you always seem to know just exactly what to say. There you go. Yeah, like I said, thanks for having us on again, Dan. And like I said, April 27th, and once again, we're looking forward to a good turnout. I think we're definitely gonna be at that 36 team mark, if not over a little bit.
Wow.
And everything. So looking forward to it.
It just gets bigger every year, man.
It gets bigger every year, and want to send a shout out to Drew Parker and Stuart Parker for coming on to be our title sponsor with Morgan and Stanley. I can't tell you how much we appreciate them wanting to come on and be a part of it. Those guys have been, especially Drew, has been a big part of the football team at Central for quite some time now,
and he's really stepped up and helped us out with the golf tournament.
Yes, absolutely, and and then of course today or it started yesterday. Got some emails from Parks Motors. They're gonna do the hole-in-one sponsor again. They're gonna 2019 Canyon
GMC
Canyon, yeah. And then also they threw in there
And by the way, I did tell Robert yesterday that you were real close to winning that truck last year, but I told him I was not going to let you have it.
Is that right?
TJ, for anybody who participated in the tournament last year didn't hear, but TJ was actually about 4 inches from the cup.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
On the hole for the hole in one, and Eddie and I told him we can't let you win this.
probably the best shot I've ever had on that hole since I've been playing golf, and it's just it's a tough hole, and that's the reason why it's there. It's just very intimidating. You've got the road there, you've got traffic coming by, and your ball always seems to want to gravitate toward the road.
Yeah,
I know we've been out there
toward a 2019 Mercedes.
Yeah. me and my buddies have been out there quite a bit, and there's been a car or two kind of it didn't go over well, and we're always like, well, what happens right there? And I don't know. I guess we'll find out if they stop and come back. But
hey, I do want to personally give a shout out to Robert Rogers at Parks, because he stepped up. He's our hole sponsor, and he's going to be donating a set of tires.
Yes, for the longest drive.
For the longest drive.
And that's
yeah,
I can't tell you how much we appreciate.
And gave us some door
that.
prizes yesterday. And fabulous. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah,
thank you, Robert. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You're the man.
You know, and
I guess I can say
just
to the
fact
camera,
that,
you the man.
You know, not only that, but I want to thank everybody.
Absolutely.
That you know comes out to do a whole sponsorship and comes out to play. You know, without that, there is no tournament. You know, and we really appreciate that. Also, you know, thanks to everybody that helps us every year. You know, it's been the same group of people every year, and you know, to have that support and everything behind you every year, it sure means a lot.
Well, you'll get your bill.
Well, can it be an IOU?
Well, yeah, we can handle that. Not a problem. Not a problem. No, it's a great thing to do. Carol and I love going out and getting the door prizes. We get to talk to people. We get to talk to a lot of folks. Matter of fact, we picked a couple of today that we haven't had before.
Okay.
And they were saying to us, yeah, I went to school with Dylan.
Okay.
And these are folks that were like almost 10 years ago. And they said, yeah, I was a sophomore when all that went on. And they said, sure, we'll be more than happy. And these are a couple of new folks that have come on board. Now, we've lost a couple of businesses in town because they're moving or whatever they're doing. But we're picking up new folks all the time. And we picked up, like I said,
it seems to work out that way every year.
Yeah.
I mean, if somebody doesn't do a whole sponsor this year, it always seems to be those 3 or 4 or 5, you know, different places that come in and kind of keeps us where we're at right there as far as whole sponsors go. So,
$100 for a whole sponsor.
Yes, $100 for a whole sponsor. It's $300 per team, $75 per person. Breakfast, lunch is included. It's going to be, you know, prizes will be awarded. Hole in one, closest to the pin, longest drive. Longest drive will be a man and a woman. You know, we'll have that, and of course, there's always door prizes. Mulligan packages, 2 per person. Absolutely 2 per person. Let me throw that out there again.
Yeah,
we seem to have a problem with that every year, that people get to going around and saying, well, we bought all we want to. I was like, they're trying to get in your head, man. Just, you know, don't listen to that kind of stuff. But, and then, of course, you know, we always have a putting contest. And, and we always have
Francisco, the friendly faces of the putting contest.
Works out perfect every year. I'm sure glad that, like I said, that's another couple that has been there with us from the start, and we can't thank them enough. So.
Who's in charge of the weather? Because whoever it was last year,
it was perfect.
Yeah, it was
perfect.
Well,
I do not disagree with that, and we have been very lucky. I think we've only had one time that we had to move the tournament to the very next weekend. And the disappointing thing was to that is we called it off the following day, and it never rained that Saturday. It would have been a perfect day for it.
I was,
and then there was that
year directors at the local baseball league in Franklin for years, and we would run into that. We'd call off Saturday games on Friday night because it was supposed to rain.
Yes, sir.
And it never did.
Well,
and then we had that one year that it rained up until 8 o'clock and then stopped.
Yeah. But unfortunately, we're kind of in a situation, especially, you know, with food and things of that nature.
Yeah.
You know, Bypass Deli is dealt with taking care of lunch for us. The past couple 3 years, they're planning on, you know, definitely going to do it again this year. And it's a situation where, you know, you definitely don't want to have them cook up a bunch of stuff and then all of a sudden, hey, we can't have it. You know, you're looking at yourself.
And then we have
going,
Little Caesars kick in.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Little Caesars always comes in there for us every year as well. So, and we try to work it out. I'm one of those that, just like everybody else, I don't want to have too much because I don't want to have just wasted stuff, you know, left over. I know the first year we ever did it, we had a bunch of stuff left over. Of course,
we had a ton of stuff.
managed to. I think they took it to the jail or something like that, or something come about and took it somewhere that it definitely didn't go to waste, which was absolutely a good thing because I just don't like that kind of stuff.
All right, now I've had several folks who have asked me so far this year. We've been out collecting for door prizes. Said, what does the money go for? And I told them, I said it goes for scholarships, but this year we're doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, this year, you know, in the past it's been just for football players. We started out doing two $2,000 scholarships just for football players. We decided to switch it up after last year. Of course, we wound up giving 3 away last year, but you know, reason being is because there was only 3 young men that come out, and we figured, you know, since it was last year, we was gonna just give it to the football team. You know, wasn't no sense in just being one disappointed person in the bunch. So we went ahead and give the 3rd one as well. This year, like I said, it's going to be a little different. One's going to go to the football team, and then one's going to be for the whole senior class, whoever wants to come out. Now, we're in the process of trying to talk with Roger about that. I was talking with Vance before we got started, and, you know, I think the way we're trying to approach it is we would either like to go to the school and show the ESPN video just so everybody understands, you know, because these ones coming up nowadays, I wouldn't think they would even know anything about it, or, you know, maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know, but, you know, just kind of refresh their memory and let them know what, you know, why we're doing what we're doing and what it's for, and, you know, they write an essay and send it in, and we go from there. Now, I say we go to the school, of course, with all the technology nowadays. I guess we could just tell them, hey, look it up on, you know, YouTube or whatever. And
well, it'd be better to have them in one place and all looking at the same time.
Well, that's true, and you know, it's whatever. When we talk to Roger, whatever they want us to do, we'll be more than glad to do that. That's for sure.
Good deal. So if someone wants to participate, they need to call you, Vance, or Heather.
Well,
or Rick.
Not necessarily. I mean, we'll
okay.
Well, are you talking about in the golf tournament?
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, in the golf tournament. Well, we went from one extreme to the next. So,
he was
but
thinking
yes,
essay.
in the golf tournament.
My bad.
Absolutely. And it would be good to, you know, try to get the information to me as quick as possible, and, you know, let me know if you've got a cart. Things of that nature. It definitely helps us out.
That's one thing we do emphasize. If you have a cart, golf cart, bring it.
Yes,
bring it.
Absolutely. I mean, we need all the help we can get right there. Mount Pleasant Golf Course donated 12 golf carts to us last year. I'm in the process of talking to somebody about that again this year to see if they will do the same thing. I hope they will, you know, because it definitely worked out perfect last year.
Right.
And then, like I said, I think last year we wound up with 38 teams, and it was, you know, it worked out.
Did we have 38?
I think it was 38. I was going through the other day, and I had 38 sheets, but I don't know. It may have been a case where one team or 2 teams didn't show up. Yeah. But like I said, we were still at that 36 mark. I mean,
but still, we completed the tournament in about the same amount of time we normally do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, and you know, it's not just for scholarships.
Right.
You know, this is for,
we have had families that have been in need,
yes,
and we've taken care of that.
Yes.
And we've had individuals who have had problems.
Yes, sir.
And taken care of that too.
Yeah. and we want to continue that. You know, we're trying to give back to the community that, you know, give to us in our time of need. And you know, and we need to get that out there a little bit more. I don't know if everybody, you know, necessarily knows, because I'll hear here and there, you know, you hear something about a child from another, you know, another school around the local area, and I'm like, well, it's the first time I've heard that. I didn't know what was going on there. So, you know, if people, you know, reach out to us, you know, let us know what's going on, and you know, we'll definitely do our best to help out as much as we can.
All right.
So,
Sounds good. April 27th.
yes, sir.
When is the deadline for getting your applications in?
Well, that's a good question.
Well, that's why I ask it.
Because you definitely want as many folks as you can get, but at the same time, you know, right now, without going into an all-day process, 36 teams should be the limit. I mean, that's two teams per hole starting out, and that's, you know, like I said, we still kind of at that. With that, you know, we get done right at the time that we need to. But I would like to say that, you know, at least a couple weeks before the tournament. You know, we always seem to have those ones that kind of come in the door there at the last minute. And, you know, we try to accommodate that as much. Basically, when it comes down to that, we basically have to tell them, hey, look, that's fine if you want to come, but you're going to have, you know, you're going to have your own card, you know. Because we're just limited on that, and I don't like to turn anybody away. I really don't, because that's just it's good for the tournament. It's good for, you know, what we're doing and everything. So it's like any other benefit, or, you know, the more money you can get in the door to help things out is, you know, always a good thing.
Well, since you're only doing the one flight, you know, you have to limit it somewhat.
Yes, absolutely. You really do. And, you know, like I said, though, I just don't want to turn anybody away,
Right.
especially somebody that really is wanting to be a part of it and everything.
Right.
And to be honest with you, it's just
The
like
money goes to a good cause.
It absolutely does. I mean, and it helps keeps, you know, Dylan's memory alive.
Right.
You know, and that's always a good thing for us. It's tough every year, you know. Like I told last week, you know, I wished I wasn't doing this, you know.
Oh, sure.
It's a situation where you wish, you know, life was perfect, but it's not. So, you know, here we are, and we deal with it the best way we can. And to me, this is part of dealing with it. So
Trying to make something good of it.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I admire that because I admire you and Heather for doing this, because, like you said, I imagine it would be easier for y'all to not do it and not be reminded of it.
Yes, sir.
And all the work that goes into it on top. You know, like I admire both of y'all for this.
Well, it is a lot of work, and like I said, we couldn't do it without the good group of folks that we have around us. That
We start in January.
That's you know, that's been with us since the start, since Dylan got sick, and you know, there's a lot of good things that come out of bad things, and you know. What's been good for us is we've gotten a lot of good friends out of the situation.
I've gotten a little brother out of this.
We do a lot of
I've
good.
gotten an unruly little brother.
That means you're a really cool guy.
I don't know
You know,
what
I
else
didn't-
anybody would
I
expect
didn't-
your little brother to be than unruly, though.
You know, Dan,
He
I didn't
didn't
know this
stand a
was,
chance, Dan.
I didn't know this was necessarily a show of talking trash, but you know, we can get started if you want to.
Well, I'll
Hey,
add,
remember, I'm food delivery on contest day.
to add a little bit about other than just the scholarships.
Right.
Talking about admiring TJ and Heather, they've gone out and when people in the community have lost a child, they've gone out and visit with those folks, and supplied some proceeds for whatever was needed at that time. Families that had child in at Vanderbilt or wherever, in a stressful emotional situation, but also giving them support emotionally, but also some benefit from the golf tournament as well. A lot of people that are involved in the golf tournament know about the golf tournament, but they don't know the other side where Heather and TJ go out and really give a lot of support to people in the community that are in need at that particular moment.
Yeah, when my grandson it took a turn for the worse, TJ immediately reached out to me when he heard about it. And, Heather called, and any time I needed to talk, all I had to do was pick up the phone call, and it meant a lot. And like you say, good things come out of bad situation. Last week they had a science fair in Murfreesboro, and my granddaughter Lucy's team, Lucy, thinking about what Luke was going through, and two classmates developed a port shirt where they could do it, and they won the science fair up in Rutherford County and going to the national.
That's outstanding.
But that came out of what Lucy watched, what Luke was going through, and having the the ports.
And you hear a lot of people say, when things happen in this, well, you guys know you went through it, but it's different for everybody. It really is. I know when me and Heather, when everything was going on, and even after the fact, and she would, read up on things, and she just said the divorce rate when people lose a child, is very high, it's sad to hear that, but because these people just, it's something that you just, it's not easy to deal with. It's really not. We went from having 2 kids in the house, and in a matter of a year's time to no kids in the house. Kelsey moved to Colorado during the time that she had just graduated. She moved that summer in 2010 to Colorado, and and it was a very tough adjustment, for me and Heather both, and for us, me personally, I had to make some changes in order that I felt like needed to have happen in order for our relationship to stay where it needed to stay at. So, like I said, it's tough. It's yes, anytime anybody wants to talk, I'd be more than happy for them to reach out to me, and I'll listen. I don't like to give advice necessarily because, like I said, you don't know, their situation's different, totally different, and you don't know what kind of, how they're feeling and this and that. But, like I said, it's just it's very tough to go through, and I don't wish it on anybody, for sure.
And I'll never forget at the state championship game that night when Heather got up at halftime and talked to the team, and it was unbelievable.
And that's where her doing those things is something I couldn't do. I wouldn't be able to get through it. I'm a very emotional person when it comes to those kind of things. She even at Dylan's funeral, she got up and I knew that wasn't easy.
that definitely was not easy for her. But she's a very strong woman, and like I said, I'm glad that our relationship has, survived for both of us. I feel like being, the strong person she is, and kind of the strong person I am to a certain extent on how I handle things and this and that. So,
well, I've said it publicly, and I'll say it again. She's the strongest lady I know, and will probably ever know.
Yeah.
To do what she has done in public speaking the way that she has, and being as emotional as it can be. But I have to tell you a personal story the night of the championship. When you guys were out on the field and they're presenting you guys with the jersey and all the things that they were doing from the TSSAA, the band wanted me to announce the band at halftime. Not a problem. Did it the year before when we were to state championships. Not a problem. Happy to do so. But I'm up there. I've got tears running down my face. I'm crying like a little baby at halftime what's going on. The announcer gets up and says, "Okay, it's yours." And I said, "Really?" Because I'm teared up like everybody else, and I'm thinking, man, I can't announce this band. There's no way. But we struggled through it and got it done. And one of the band directors said, "I wonder, you sound like a little different." I said, "Yeah, you think?"
Well, and to talk about the championship game, I know a lot of people might have, thought, how was they able to, that Dylan had just passed away the night before, and how do you adjust yourself to, go be a part of something like that? But
it was what he would wanted you to do.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And that morning, after we was kind of trying to collect our thoughts there, and me and Heather were going back and forth, and I hadn't even got the tickets from Vance yet. We had talked about it. We knew it well. We had talked about it, but at that point in time, we didn't think we were going because, for one thing, is Dylan wouldn't have been able to make the trip.
Right.
And and we were offered by many folks, even
Right.
the ambulance service here in town offered to carry him, to the game and be right down there on the field. And but like I said, I wouldn't have personally wanted to be anywhere else. And everything that happened that night, everything they did at halftime, which was totally unexpected, but very
Sure.
it was really awesome. But I tell a lot of people just to be there and watch that game go on. It was very special to be a part of.
But the coolest thing, and I pointed out to Heather, and she didn't realize it until after she saw the photo. The photo that's up there on the wall that was taken of the group of the football players, cheerleaders, coaches, and everybody there. The 25 is up in the corner from the 25-second shot clock. His number is 25.
Yeah.
Now that is way cool. Coincidence? I think not.
I think he had a big hand in this.
I never really thought about it this way, but by the time we got around to making the picture, we're probably 30, maybe 40 minutes after kickoff.
Yeah, and the clock should have been turned off.
Yeah, exactly.
And it looks like it's up in a window. That's the amazing thing. Yeah, and I do have to thank Laquita and Scott Cheatham for putting that together for me. Eddie's picture's in there. Most of the players from that season is in there, and that's pretty cool.
It is.
So I got a nice collage sitting on my wall.
Well, and I'm just gonna add, just kind of getting away from it. I can't,
No,
I know it.
But people need to know the story.
Well, this is something totally different. I think it was this is kind of going Vance's way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, awesome for him to be able to have both his sons, go to a state championship. Have them both the year before be there and be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Bryant graduated 2010, and then of course Eric, after that, and to be able to be a coach and a father and have your son on the team with you, and
Yeah, but Eric shows that ring off at Thanksgiving, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have no doubt. But, two very, very both fine young men.
Absolutely.
Very, very fine parents.
And the cutest granddaughter in the world.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
We talked about Rick Rice a little bit ago and his three sons that all played quarterback for him. Yeah. I would imagine coaching your child at this level is one of the toughest things that there is to do.
It's both the toughest and the best, I guess. I guess the highs are higher and the lows are lower, and and we forget sometimes the lows. There were some lows. I mean, we were coming off 4 losing seasons in a row. If people would have asked me, what's the most likely thing, you're going to win a state championship or get fired? I would have easily said get fired.
Gee, none of us ever said that.
That's right.
No.
But when you think about going from 4 straight losing seasons to the very next year we're playing in the state championship game, and it's the only season that Bryant and Eric ever played together in any sport.
Mm-hmm.
That was tremendous. And then come back the next year and win it. It's like we talked about with Shaq. You can't hardly dream up 3 Super Bowls in a row, much less that scenario.
In 4 years.
Yeah. That is really amazing. 3 out of 4 years. Yeah.
I think what's really amazing with Shaq's deal is the fact that, and let me back up a little bit, there's a lot of folks who sign those big contracts, and it's a big letdown as far as their performance goes. He signs the big contract, and his performance went up because the Kansas City game, the block out he did, and also in the Super Bowl, the block out he did, scored the winning touchdown.
Yeah.
I think that you see that in athletes. I mean, at the high school level, you see a kid, once they commit to sign a college scholarship, once they've settled on it, where they're going and announced and that kind of thing, you see kids go in either of 2 directions. Either it's, okay, I know where I'm going, I know what I'm going to do, I don't have to play anymore and don't. Or
we've seen that.
Or I know what I'm going to do, I know where I'm going here now, I'm going to show you why I'm worthy of this.
Right.
And so I think sometimes if you got a guy like a Shaq, then they're driven to show you that they are worthy of this. So the chip on their shoulder just doesn't go away.
Right.
Yeah, and another part of that too, one of the things that's so fun about coaching high school in particular is seeing kids finally get that burst of confidence, and then really elevate their play from that point on is just tremendous. And that happens, I think, more often with high school age kids, just simply because of the maturing process and all that. But I see some of that in Shaq, and what I think we're all saying the same thing. Once he got to that high level of performance, it wasn't a coast time thing. It's like, wow, this is me. I am a high performer, and here we go.
And I can do this every night.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. And you watching him play the second half of the season. I told him this last night. From what I could see, it was almost always outstanding.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Yeah, when he come back from that injury, he it was just like he come back with a chip on his shoulder and wanted to prove something.
And I'm talking to myself, right after midseason when I see him playing so well, I'm thinking, man, am I just making too much of it because I want it for him so bad? Or no, then I'll go in the other direction. I think he's playing as well as anybody in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 3 or 4 weeks later, it came out where people started talking about.
You were just a little bit ahead of the curve.
Well, I don't know. Again, I didn't really know, but it sure did sound good when I saw somebody.
Well, and I think somebody else you got to give some credit to is his mother.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
The work ethic that
the way he's been brought up, and the role models he's had around him. Very fine young man, always very respectful, and he doesn't come off as a cocky, I've got this.
Would you
kind of
want Alicia
football
McGuire
player.
up in your face?
No, probably not.
That would be no.
But even what I'm trying to say is because me and Heather we went to Buffalo last year, me and her and Kelsey and Jonathan and Cody Hamilton, and went there to watch him play. And after the game, he brings us down on the field, and even then it's yes ma'am, yes sir.
Oh yeah.
And to me that says a lot.
It's all about you.
Oh, yeah.
Jason.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why I think this city wants to do things like what's going to take place on the 16th.
Which starting at 4 o'clock will be the Super Bowl block party downtown on the square. Be there.
Should be fun.
We have a rugby game that day.
Ooh.
We have a rugby game starting at 12 noon.
Oh, well, you'll be done by then.
Oh yeah, well, we should be. Okay. We should be.
Well, that ought to work out pretty good. You get to go.
And if he leaves his
watch
varsity
these-
players in there, it's going to be over with pretty quick.
Well, and saying something about rugby, whoever's listening, just give a shout out to Adriana Langley.
Yes,
she is my neighbor.
She
and
did
she is
something the other night that was incredible.
Wonderful young lady. Hey, buddy, let me tell you something. Her,
tough as nails.
She is. I mean, I remember her when me and Heather and us moved in next door to them. I mean, she was still in diapers.
Yeah.
She probably wouldn't like me saying that, but
she put a stiff arm on a girl the other night.
Yeah. Oh,
and drove her back about 10 yards.
She's tough, buddy, but she's got a older brother and sister to thank for that. I've watched them out. I've watched them out in the yard playing soccer and this and that many a times. And there again, another family that's just wonderful. They're the best neighbors in the world. Robin and Brianna.
Yeah.
And very well. They've done a great job with those kids. So I was glad to hear you say something about the first game. I'm gonna try to talk to Heather and see if we can't,
Well,
get
you know
out
where
there
we'll
for
be.
that. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Hey, before you shut it down,
Yes, sir.
Next Tuesday.
I was getting ready to come to you.
Oh, well, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to come to you. Do you have anything you'd like to pass on
for the good of the cause?
Okay. Yeah.
Next Tuesday, talked to Kirk Shepard for a little bit last night,
Yes.
a little bit more today. The Duck River chapter of the FCA has their annual banquet. It starts at 6:30 at the Tennessee Farm Bureau. Former NFL place kicker David Akers will be the guest speaker. There are table sponsorships and individual tickets still available. Reach out to Kirk, and if you don't have Kirk's number, I don't either, but it will be in tomorrow's Daily Herald. So,
is it a cell phone number?
It's his cell phone number.
Hang on a second, I'll get it for you.
Oh, bet I can beat you to it.
Well, you probably can, but we'll get Kirk's
931-797-5260.
Yes, sir. That's what that is.
That's it.
Maurice,
See, if you had a graphics person, we could run that across the screen.
We don't.
you just ruined his whole night. He won't be able to sleep tonight knowing you.
No, yeah, he will. Oh, believe me, I'll be able to sleep real well tonight. I have no problem with that. Sleeping is not an issue. I can do that. That's no problem.
But no, that's next Tuesday,
And we would like to report that since Kurt had a heart attack several weeks ago, that he's doing much, much better.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Kurt.
he's been feeling the stress of getting this banquet together.
That's
he
true.
said,
Yeah.
Mid-10 Classic.
Yes, Mid-Tennessee Classic, Vols and MTSU. Vol
Mid-State
State
Classic.
Well, that's what it is, because it's right there on the wall. It's the Mid-State Classic, March 12th. Get your tickets now.
2 weeks from yesterday. Right?
Yes, sir.
And Phil
absolutely.
Fulmer's throwing out the first pitch.
Yep.
That's what they say.
Yep. So Eddie and I will be there in full regalia. So,
Full regalia.
Absolutely.
What will that be?
well, I'm not saying, man. You got to show up Mid-State Classic, pay $10 for a ticket, come in and see.
I'm not paying for a ticket.
You and I haven't paid for a ticket in anything in years.
We'd say Maurice would just break out the press
I'm not
badge.
paying
Yeah.
for it.
There you go.
Actually, the last ticket I paid for was MTSU Louisville in the NIT last
Oh,
year.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't get a press pass?
No.
Yeah, okay. Well, sad.
Yeah, well. Bees ate
Hey, well, thank you.
survive.
Thank you for coming by, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
No, I love having you come on. Guys, thank you very much. TJ,
Thank you, Dan.
April
Always.
27th. Don't forget, Stony Brook Golf Course. For everybody on All the Ball Sports Show, we are